Hello and a very warm welcome to this, our first feed forward of the year, called Scaling Up for Success, and as ever, brought to you by the Triot Group. Today's show is hosted by Ottevanger Milling Engineers, and it focuses on how feed manufacturers can leverage the very latest in production technology and know-how to more profitably serve local markets at mid-sized volumes. In particular, we'll be exploring the modular feed mill concept, otherwise known as the Modumill, a unique technology developed by Ottevanger more than 50 years ago and now successfully operated by customers across Africa, Asia, Europe and Latin America. We'll be joined by one such customer, Mauricio Magnasco of the growing Chilean cattle feed manufacturer Alisur, who discusses how and why his company chose this modular approach. And joining him is an Ottevanger team that includes Head of Sales, Dennis Tiding, for a high-level overview of the modular mill, Area Sales Manager for Latin America, Duki Ustaban, who explains its features and benefits in depth, and Area Sales Manager for Asia, Paul Einbetz, who talks us through how feed manufacturers can choose the right growth option tailored to their specific needs. It's a packed show ahead, so let's join the team and discover how you can scale up for success.
Hello everyone, it's great to be back with you again for this, our very first Feed Forward episode of 2022, called Scaling Up for Success. And let me just say that if you want to catch up on any of our previous episodes, you can find them on our website at triot.com. Now, today we're looking at how feed mills serving local markets and producing mid and lower volumes can maximize production capacity and profitability. We have a packed show, so let's get started. I'm here in the studio with Ottevanger's Head of Sales, Dennis Tiding. Hello, Dennis.
Hi, Lars.
And a familiar face, of course, because I've seen you in episode 2.
Yes, good to see you again.
Yeah,
Lars.
talking about storage.
Correct.
That's right. Now, you spend, of course, a huge amount of time talking to all sorts of feed mill customers around the world. So how do you scale up for success?
Good question. Like so many aspects of feed milling, there's no one-size-fits-it-all solution.
So that's why they have to talk to you guys.
Yes, talk to me and my team, of course. And this is also the main reason why we created this episode.
You work with all sorts of companies in terms of size and nationality, etc. So what would you say about that?
Yes, they have various needs, obviously, but that makes us really proud if we are able to scale them up.
Okay, and what do you say to those customers who want to produce lower capacities for their local markets?
Well, there are several proven options, but one is of special interest, which is our modular feed mill, also called the Modumill.
The Modumill, right. But are we looking here at a fully functional feed mill?
Yes, we are. It has been invented by the Ottevangers in 1971, and the last 50 years we spent perfecting it.
Wow. Now, before we continue, can you give us just a little bit for the viewers out there, can you say something about the size and the scale of this?
Yes, the frame itself it measures 6 by 2.5 by 2.5 meters. In this configuration, the overall height is approximately 10 meters, which is actually way lower than a conventional feed mill.
But it functions like a conventional feed mill?
Yes, it does, and it can be easily connected to a customer-specific dosing section and finished product section.
Right, so it's fully operational?
Yes, it includes also integrated automation, which is the specialty of our sister company in Technion.
Right, and what is the benefit for the feed manufacturer?
Yeah, this is a fast, flexible and agile solution which gives return on investment. It's based on the same engineering knowledge as a conventional feed mill, so it's a proven solution.
Wow, I mean, how many are we talking?
More than 100 projects in 45 countries worldwide.
And what kind of regions?
For example, Latin America, Africa and Asia, where logistics can be challenging. And more we see our customers turning to the Modumill as an ideal solution for providing their local markets.
Right. We will meet one of those customers later in the show. So thank you very much for this for now, Dennis.
Thanks, Lars.
Thank you. Before we go to our next guest, a quick reminder. Please remember to submit your questions and comments via the chat. A member of our team will get back to you as soon as possible. Now, I'm happy to say that we have a very special guest now who's joining us, Mauricio Magnasco of Alisur. It's a feed manufacturer and a Modumill customer as well, based in Chile. Welcome, Mauricio. Can you start by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Well, my name is Mauricio Magnasco. I'm Executive Director of Alisur, but I'm an architect by profession. As a kid, I felt attracted to the family farm, so I met some friends, then started growing annual crops, and right now we're building what we expect to be one of the biggest dairy feed mills in our country.
And can you tell us a little bit about Alisur?
Alisur is a company owned by a group of farmers. We are located in Osorno, which is a small city in southern Chile, with a good climate for growing crops and producing milk. We started in 2008 with a canola oil processing plant, but then in 2013 we installed a 10-ton per hour feed mill to produce cattle feed. Although we're crop producers, our farmers are literally surrounded with cows. The interesting part is that in Chile there are already too many feed mills, and so in order to differentiate, we decided to innovate in two ways. The first one, we're a local company. We are farmers selling our crops to other local farmers, so this is important for us and also for them. And second, transparency. Dairy producers want to know exactly what's inside the feed they buy.
And so how do you achieve this transparency?
We realized that technology and e-commerce could help us. So we developed an e-commerce platform where customers can design their own feed, customized to their precise requirements. And because this is enabled in a fully digitalized process, we can do this for hundreds of recipes at scale.
Fascinating. So a la carte animal feed. But it has taken you quite a while to get to this point. So how did it all start?
We, as a group of long-established farmers, wanted to enter the feed business, but we had no industrial experience. So we realized that a project like this would be too complex, expensive and risky for us, and decided to go into the oil extraction business instead, with a small production facility and also with a lower risk and cost.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so what changed?
With the small oil extraction facility, we learned the basics of an industrial process. So we gained confidence in order to start a more complex business. Also because in Osorno, it's so well suited to dairy farming, our domestic market started moving from the northern part of the country to the south, where we are. However, in 2013, there were no well-established feed mills there, so we decided it was a good moment to invest.
Okay, so in 2013 you decided to take the leap and build a feed mill to serve this market.
Yes, we had to invest a lot of time trying to understand the technology and what kind of equipment we needed. We started looking at feed mills producing in Latin America, but we found that the quality of the machinery was not very good and looked damaged and deteriorated. So we decided to visit Europe, where we found the quality of the machinery we were looking for, and also with a level of engineer that we thought that was worth investing.
Okay, Mauricio, so you found Ottevanger. Can you remember what you thought about the containerized mill when you first saw it?
Yeah, we needed something we could mount fast and to be reliable in order to guarantee that we could deliver our contracts. Because the containerized mill is all pre-mounted in a very high standard, we believe that the risks were therefore very low.
What about the practical side of things, like maintaining the feed mill?
Although the plant is very compact, we could see that the mill was well designed so that our workers could access everything easily, and equipment servicing could be conducted easily also. So we took a big breath and just bought it.
Now, I mean, so many years later, you are about to buy a second mill, so your strategy is clearly working. Has the mill lived up to your expectations?
Absolutely, yes. We produce our feed with only one operator and at a very high performance. And every part of the process is automated. So our strategy of producing on-demand feed at scale can be implemented with no difficulties.
What advice do you have for your colleagues watching this around the world?
Well, I think that there's still a lot of space to innovate in this very traditional industry. We have already implemented the e-commerce in our business, but for example, there's still a lot of to do with the big data analysis. Right now, we're launching a high precision formulation software that will enable our customers to design their formulas with a lower cost and better use of the nutrients.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Mauricio. It's been really interesting to hear about your experiences, and good luck for the future.
Thank you, Lars, for your interview, and good luck with the show. Bye-bye.
So that's the customer view. Now let's meet the man who works with Mauricio and various other customers in Latin America. Ottevanger's area manager for the region, Duke Oosterbaan. Duke, welcome.
Hi Lars, great to see you.
Now I understand that there is a good reason why you are unable to join us here today in person.
Yeah, indeed. I'm currently in the middle of a tour visiting Latin American customers, which is always fun and educational.
In fact, Alisur is not the only Ottevanger customer in Latin America or the only modular feed mill customer. So what did you make of Mauricio's comments?
Well, the online sales of custom-made formulations is really interesting. This could be used in other markets too.
Yes, it's a really innovative way of thinking about the end product and using new technology to create something different.
Yes, and as Mauricio explained, Alisur has been able to achieve all this using our modular feed mill technology.
Now, I realize that viewers might be looking at the modular feed mill here in the studio and wondering how it works in practice. So, Duke, how does a customer set up a modular feed mill?
Well, they build a basic shed or structure and simply put it inside. No concrete floors, no steel construction, no high towers. In fact, no extra constructions needed. This is a fully operational feed mill with exactly the same quality equipment as used in a conventional feed mill. And it can produce any recipe, of course.
What kind of capacities?
Well, anywhere from 1 to 60 ton per hour, depending on the raw materials and formulation. So, for example, at Planta Alimentos Morichal in Venezuela, we have built a 30 ton per hour modular feed mill with a 15 ton per hour pelleting line. And of course, this is connected to a dosing system and the finished product silos. It's a beauty.
Now, Duke, I want to quickly touch on another important aspect of this technology. It's clear this is a very compact solution, but is it transported in a compact way also?
Absolutely. We assembled the parts at our Ottevanger workshop in the Netherlands. It's all based on the finest engineering and then put inside the yellow steel container frames you see. Then it is shipped.
So it ships literally as containers?
That is right. No loose parts. The mounting materials, compressed air, liquid dosing systems and spares are also included. Thus, for our customers, it means less transport costs and a lower energy footprint.
Okay, and while you're preparing this, what is the customer typically doing?
While we are designing and fabricating the feed mill and its components in the Netherlands, meanwhile, the customer can get the building site ready. Then when the modular feed mill arrives, it all just fits together. We call it modular feedmill for a good reason. We construct this feedmill with modular blocks that fit together in a highly efficient and functional way. And this has been optimized over 50 years.
And who does the constructing?
First, during the construction on site, we provide experts to supervise this process with local contractors. Secondly, for the startup of the operation, we work with the customer to ensure that all the equipment is working. That includes electric control and automation. Plus, we also need to ensure that the capacities we have promised are delivered.
Yeah, of course, I'm assuming that another big customer benefit here is speed.
Yes, the whole process takes about a year from signing to startup, compared to 18 months to 2 years for a conventional feed mill. With a modular feed mill, there is no reinventing the wheel. For example, all structural calculations are standardized, and that saves our customers quite some time and costs.
Speaking of money, how does this modular concept stack up financially?
Well, here in Latin America, some of our customers have found that leasing financing is an extremely attractive option. The faster you can build a feed mill, the sooner you can start producing feed and make money.
And who could argue with that? Now, before you leave us, any final thoughts?
Well, I hope that viewers have found this interesting. And if so, please contact me.
Indeed, and you'll find Duca's details in the chat. Duca, thank you so much for your time today, and enjoy the rest of your trip.
Thank you, Lars. It was nice talking to you.
Great you're still watching this episode about scaling up, and we are talking about the Modumill. Now, just a quick reminder to keep your questions and comments coming in via the chat, and we will get back to you with a response as soon as possible. Now, I'm delighted here to be joined in the studio by Ottevanger's Paul Eimberts. Hello, Paul.
Hello, Lars.
Paul, you are the area sales manager for Asia, where this is also a very popular solution, right?
Yes, that's correct. In Asia, but also in Africa, the Modumill is a very well appreciated and cost-effective feed mill solution.
Yeah. So, as a real industry veteran, can you talk us through the decision-making process for customers? I mean, how do they decide, and how do they know if the modular approach is right for them?
Yeah, of course, every customer is different and has their own specific requirements. With our Modumill solution, we are able to compose the right feed mill to them.
And how so?
So before making the desired design, we first investigate the requirements and expectations of the customer. It's important to learn about the needs for today, but also to think about the future. It's a matter of long-term planning.
So scaling up is about scalability.
Exactly. The beauty of Modumill is that it gives you the feed mill for today, but also with the potential to easily upgrade it for the future. This is not just about having the ability to reach a higher production capacity, but also think about having additional processes and features.
So the Modumill itself is not one size fits all.
No, our modular feed mills are grouped in different capacity ranges. And as you can see, within each capacity range, we have room to expand. As an example, a customer can start with a feed mill for 15 tons per hour, and on later date to expand it with an additional hammer mill and pelleting line to make it able to produce 30 tons an hour.
Right, but I assume there is some sort of limit to what a Modumill can produce.
Yeah, as mentioned earlier, Lars, the Modumill can produce up to 60 tons per hour in a single line. So you can extend by adding more lines. But remember, high capacity requires also bigger machines, bigger equipment. And at a certain point, this larger equipment simply doesn't fit in the 20-foot module anymore. And this solution reaches its limits.
And what happens then?
Now, at this point, we usually advise the customers to consider the conventional design. But again, it depends on the individual circumstances.
Like what?
Now, well, multiple modular lines can deliver high capacity, but sometimes this may not be the most cost-effective solution. It depends on different factors, like geographical spread.
Geographical spread, can you explain a little bit?
Now, in Asia, we have countries like Philippines and Indonesia. They consist of a large group of smaller islands. Mm-hmm. And it can be a smart strategy to create a kind of a nest of modumills on the different smaller islands instead of having one large feed mill on a major island.
Right, so it's a strategic advantage point from a transport and logistics point of view.
Yes, because the feed mill can secure transportation to the end customer. And remember, the animals have to eat every day. And produce the feed where the feed is needed.
Right, which is also more cost effective, I imagine.
One of the biggest hidden costs for the feed mill is transport cost of the finished feed. So if you're close to the customers, then you save money and you reduce your risks.
Right.
We have an example. Recently in the COVID period, we had a customer in Philippines who was only providing feed to their own island because they were simply not allowed, they were restricted to supply it to other islands because of the inter-island transport ban.
Right.
Due to COVID.
Yeah, I see, yes. And what other types of manufacturers are benefiting from this Modumill?
Yeah, for integrated customers, these smaller modular feed mills enable them to be self-supportive and being less dependent on the commercial feed mills. This is especially true in isolated areas where the Modumill can provide a quick and lean startup to produce the high-quality feeds.
And to be clear, we're talking all kinds of feed here.
Now, the Modumill can produce any type of feed, even aquatic feeds, but also premixes.
Right, okay. So it really just depends on what your customer needs.
Yeah, depending on requirements, it can even be a hybrid system. As example, to have a poultry line together with an aquatic feed line inside one plant.
Right, so it's modular, but potentially customized. Now, how would a feed mill customer go about calculating the value of this solution?
Yeah, that's a good question. We are not just considering the investment in the equipment itself. There are also other project-related costs, like civils, road layouts, building.
Okay, and these are all reduced with the Modumill.
Now, with Modumill, we help the customers to reduce the overall investment costs in everything from foundation, the concrete, the steel structure, the erection time and the number of personnel required for that, the tools and equipment, and even the size of the special tools can be much smaller. An example, for a feed mill with a height of 5 to 10 meters, you simply need a smaller crane, and for a very short period of time.
I'm sensing a recurring theme, which is like reduced complexity is reduced time, is reduced cost.
Yeah, as my colleague Duke already explained in the previous segment, the shorter the lead time on your feed mill startup, the sooner you can sell your product and making profit.
Well, yeah, you make it sound so simple, Paul.
Yeah, at the end of the day, the manufacturer needs to produce high-quality feeds for the lowest cost per ton. This calculation starts with the feed mill choice, and this choice needs to be about long-term value to their business.
Right. So it's about price, performance.
Spot on. As I often tell to customers, the bitterness of a poor quality remains long after the sweetness of a low price is forgotten.
Ah, very accurate and poetic quote. I'll use that next time I buy a car.
That's good, yeah. But the viewers shouldn't take my word on that. We have several sites all across over Asia where they can visit, and these customers are more than willing to share their experiences with them.
Right, well, like seeing is believing, to use another quote.
Yeah, indeed, and of course, if somebody watching has questions, please don't hesitate to get in touch with us. We're more than happy to answer these questions.
Good, sounds like a good plan to me, Paul. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts today with us.
A pleasure. Thank you, Lars.
Thank you. Great. To all of you out there around the globe, that's it for this episode. Thanks for joining us on episode 6 on Scaling Up for Success. Thanks to all our contributors, Dennis, Duque and Paul from Ottevanger, Planta Alimentos Mauricio from Venezuela, and of course to Mauricio Magnasco of Alisur in Chile. We hope you've enjoyed the show, and until next time, all I can say is keep looking forward.
And that wraps it up for this episode of Feed Forward. Don't forget that our live stream will remain open for a while, or alternatively, you can contact us via the usual social media channels. So please, get in touch with any questions or requests and we will get back to you. In the meantime, thanks once again to all the participants in this episode and to you for joining us. And we hope very much to see you again later in the year with our next episode of Feed Forward.